Hey alls, it's me, Dr. Edwards, and I wanted to put together a little video about our final project. Last week, you should have taken the time to review the overall project, right, which is what you can actually see here. Now, I don't want you all to get overwhelmed or anything like that. We're going to be doing this in chunks. We call those milestones, all right? So if you scroll on down, you can see the first part, milestone 1, is all about the approach. Okay, I suggest actually reading this over before moving on to the specific rubric and prompt for milestone 1. You want to get a good overview before you kind of focus in on specific sections. So go ahead and do that, and then after you've read that, follow me and we'll go on over to milestone 1. Okay? Now, rather than assign you all a specific continent, I'm going to let you have your free choice. All right? But as you'll see in above this video somewhere, I outlined the basic continents that you can pick from. All right, so you got Africa, you got Asia, you have Europe, Australia, North America, and South America. Now, when it comes to North America, you cannot pick the U.S. as your country. All right, it has to be another country. You could do Canada. Right, Mexico, yeah. But if you pick North America as your continent, you can't do the U.S. So I just want to make that really clear. So if you look here, we'll have these basic critical elements. All right. And these are the key things that you're going to need to be addressing. And they correlate to these bulleted points right up here, if you can see me pointing at them. So I just gave you the basic information for you to select your own country based on those 6 different continents, right? We're not doing Antarctica because no one really lives there, aside from scientific research stations and the such. So next up is going to be selecting a specific anthropological theory. All right, now if you go into our module 2, I can get there real quick, and one more click, there we go. In our reading and resources sections, you have some really good information, and you're going to want to go over it. In particular, for picking a theory, all right, we have a couple of resources here. This first one, website Anthropological Theory, is a guide prepared by students for students. It's listed as optional, but I really strongly suggest you don't make it optional. You want to read it, all right? You want to look it over. It gives a really nice comprehensive overview of some really important anthropological theories. And we have another one as well, a PDF that you can download that covers a lot of the same stuff, but also gives additional details. So you're going to want to look at both, okay? And I'll just take a quick second for you guys to see what we're talking about here. So we'll go to the website, and here you can see a whole bunch of them listed here. Cultural materialism, diffusionism and acculturation, ecological anthropology, feminist anthropology, any and all of these is what we're talking about when it comes to theories. Okay, I'll pick one of my favorites, functionalism, and go and boom. This gives you a very nice, concise, key points, key contributors. All right. That'll give you actually extra insights. You can go and check out these particular theorists, these particular contributors, and you can see what they did. And here you can see the specific works that they wrote that inform the theory. All right. So yeah, really invaluable stuff. All right, flipping back to Milestone. Well, actually, show you the other PDF here, and it also, breaks down the 4 subfields, goes over major theoretical perspectives, evolutionism, What else we got here? Diffusionism, historical particularism, the functionalist school, functionalism, culture and personality school, structuralism, cultural and ecology, neo-evolutionism. Yeah, so again, you're going to want to go through it and what speaks to you, all right? And what I suggest is, you pick a country in one of those 6 continents that I outlined. Pick a country that interests you, right? And pick a theoretical perspective that interests you, right? You want to flex those muscles, okay? So hopping back to our rubric here. Next up, you're going to want to describe any histories of resistance and domination, right, as they pertain to specific cultural groups within your country of choice. So, because we're not going to use the U.S. as an example for this, I'm going to use it as an example for this particular aspect, right? Histories of resistance and domination. Well, was North America empty when European settlers arrived? No! There were a whole heck of a lot of folks living here. Some accounts of over 500 different Native American communities, nations, if you would. And they have very specific histories of resistance. All right. The U.S., after European colonization and the independence movement and the birth of the United States, the U.S. went on to have very specific policies of assimilation that were forced on indigenous communities, trying to force them into this new culture that surrounded them and dominated them. Okay. So think like that when you're identifying a specific cultural group in your country of choice, all right? If you're doing something in Eastern Europe, gypsies are a great group that's been marginalized through history. Indigenous communities in general, great groups to explore. And you're going to want to, do some good old-fashioned Google research and, look your group up and see what they've had to go through. A great resource that you might want to check out for this is a website called Survival International. They highlight a lot of the unique issues that indigenous groups face today, and many of them outline a history of domination, right, that they've had to resist. Okay, so next up, ethnography. All right, if you watch my little intro overview, I try to talk about ethnography and its value and kind of some key approaches to it. Now, here we also want to flip back to our main module 2 page, and we got a couple of an article about ethnographic method and anthropological research. Read it, right? Use this to outline your ethnographic approach for your project. Okay. Let's see here. Back to milestone 1. And these two points, describe how you use ethnography as your research method to support your proposal, and explain how the ethnography research method will inform your approach to logistics and planning. Those are very related, all right. But the key difference is, one, you're going to be connecting to your theoretical framework. All right, and the other is all about how you're actually going to execute, all right, your research. I hope that makes sense. And because we don't want to limit ourselves to a strictly Western theoretical perspective, it's important to recognize that there are other theoretical perspectives. Functionalism is a very Western theoretical perspective, whereas symbolism or symbolic anthropology really looks more at what things mean to those particular groups. All right. So yeah, you're going to want to be able to outline, Western and or non-Western theoretical perspectives that are going to, help shape your proposal. Okay. Now, this is to be a 2 to 3 page document. I'd say 2 pages is going to be really hard, right? I would expect for the depth that I'm looking for on this, 3 pages is more appropriate. Yeah. It's to be titled Approach, all right? And that goes back to right here. You can see section 1. This corresponds to milestone 1, Approach. Okay, this pretty much is the same thing as these key points. You can even use, like section 1A, section 1B, section 1C to organize and structure your proposal. All right, this first part, the approach. That helps make it really clear what part you are addressing, right? Which makes it, and this is really important, all the easier for me to say, oh, here they are, and they provide a brief overview of their selected country and, from the continent. Here their anthropological theory. You explain how a specific theory is used to address bad press or past historical disasters, specifying the theories and how they will be used, right? These are the key things that I'll be looking for, right? Now, the big difference between proficient and exemplary is it's kind of like, having an ice cream cone or a sundae. Okay, the sundae's got all the bells and whistles. It's got the cherry on top and the whipped cream and all that good stuff. And that is you going out and finding extra resources. I mentioned a minute ago, took you to one of those websites, and you could actually go and check out specific theoretical contributors and their primary works. Guess what? Those are great resources to use to support your points in this project. Okay, so I'll be looking for them, and I strongly recommend that you take me up on my advice. So yeah, and of course, if you want to sit down and have a face-to-face, we can, or an ear-to-ear. Happy to set up a Skype meeting, or chat on the phone with you. Shoot me an email, post questions in the general questions forum in our discussion board. Anything that you have a question about, don't you hesitate. Okay. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to your all's proposals for this first part, the approach, and I'll be giving you very detailed, specific feedback on them to help you with the next phase. Right? That's really important in this process. So that's where I'll leave this, and yeah, hope you all have a good one, and I'll see you around. Bye.